Now, handmade silhouettes of almost 1,500 servicemen are being made in Oxfordshire and will go on display in Normandy later this month to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
The Standing with Giants installation is made from recycled road signs, and it's taken artist Dan Barton 4 years to plan. Breakfast John Maguire has been to the studio with veteran Stan Ford to see the finishing touches being added to the project.
Not all giants loom large.
Yes, I remember him. Yes, I was only 18 when I joined. I'm proud to have done my bit. Proud, very proud to have done my bit. Yeah. And my 8 brothers, they all done their bit.
Stan Ford is among kindred spirits, among those who served as he did on D-Day, and among symbols of those who never returned home.
It's an honour to be in the presence of this. It just gives you some idea, a great idea of what the cost and the people involved.
He's here to see the making of Standing with Giants, an installation representing, in silhouette, the almost 1,500 men of the Army, Navy and Air Force under British command who died on that first day, June the 6th. Like sentinels, they will stand at the British Normandy Memorial above Vers-sur-Mer in northern France, codenamed Gold Beach during the Allied invasion. They've been created by Dan Barton, a labour of love, commitment and dedication, 4 years in the making.
The multiples of the same figure, it just seems to just really drive the point home, just how many people suffered for our freedom.
Part of Dan's vision was to involve as many volunteers as possible. More than 1,000 have helped to create the figures from recycled signs. He's borrowed thousands of pounds against his Oxfordshire home to self-fund the project and to make his vision a reality.
You don't really get parents taking their children and standing them by sadly, the monument in their village and taking a photograph of prosperity, whatever. But you do with our figures. They come along, they take a lot of pictures with their children, and conversations start. And it's a way of telling youngsters, just to be mindful of where their freedom came from. And that's.
This is a passion project for those involved.
For sure.
Today, personnel from the nearby RAF base Bryce Norton are lending a hand. Like many in the armed forces, the station commander has a family linked to the Second World War. Her mother's father drove a tank onto Sword Beach during the D-Day landings.
It wasn't something he talked about quite a lot, and I think he was just that kind of quite a modest, reserved man. And we learn about our history when you're in the military right from day one of being in the service, so we know the sacrifices that our predecessors have made, and they made them under really difficult conditions as well. But of course it's really important to remember the people that made those sacrifices, because if not, then what was it all for?
The silhouettes will travel to Normandy in these specially created stillages, adorned with poetry, prose and poppies, handmade by volunteers from the Women's Institute and delivered in mail sacks bursting at the seams.
And some have 600, 700 poppies in them from a WI, maybe from Edinburgh or down in Cornwall. And then another one has got a little envelope with maybe 1 or 2 in them. But every one comes with a letter or a card, and honestly, about who they know somebody that was involved in the D-Day and Normandy. And even if they're just giving 1 poppy, that makes a difference.
It means the world to Dan and his volunteer army to have Stan's approval, not just of the concept, but also the design, as the men are depicted with their heads bowed.
If they'd all been stood up like this, it wouldn't have been quite so... the reverence is there. And with a bowed head, it's really good, really good. I'm proud to be here and to see it myself.
Dan's ambition is to create a mobile display that can travel around during commemorations. His mission, as with the Normandy Memorial itself, is to encourage people to pause, remember and to learn, but also to ensure the fallen are never forgotten. John Maguire, BBC News, Oxfordshire.
So moving seeing them standing there, isn't it? I was just thinking how lucky we are to still be able to hear from people like Stan, who were there.
Yeah.
That won't go on forever, will it? So,
No.
yeah, John Maguire's very moving report there.